to HP to save a company. It was a company that had grown into a bloated, inept bureaucracy that cost too much and delivered too little to customers and shareholders.
Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina at this week's GOP debate defending her record as Hewlett-Packard's CEO. She joins us now this morning from Des Moines. Ms. Fiorina, welcome back to Fox News Sunday. Good to see you. Again, sorry, no extra hours sleep today.
Good morning, John. It's fine. Daylight, we fell back, so I did get an extra hour's sleep.
That's good. Listen, we talked to Lindsey Graham about this. I wanted to get you to weigh in on the president sending 50 Special Forces operators into Syria. You've talked a lot about what you would do as president when it comes to fighting ISIS. What do you think of the president's plan to send in these 50 operators?
Well, first of all, it's a recognition that you cannot have a successful bombing campaign without people on the ground telling you where to place the bomb. So he's sort of come to reality. On the other hand, it's also too little too late. And I think this is a reflection of the reality that when America does not act, when we do not lead, as we have not in the last 3 years under this president, our options become very constrained and the situation becomes more dangerous. I'm glad he did this, but we still do not have a strategy in Syria. We do not have a strategy to deal with ISIS. I've laid mine out. So as a result, the situation is far more complicated than it was 3 years ago when he started talking big about Bashar al-Assad must go and red lines cannot be crossed. And now we have Russia and Iran in the middle of Syria calling the shots. When we do not lead, the world becomes a much more dangerous and tragic place, and we are seeing that in Syria.
Russia is bombing the same rebels that we'll be training and advising. If U.S. troops get caught up in a Russian bombing attack, what should the president do?
Well, you know, the president has said that he doesn't believe in no-fly zones, for example, and of course no-fly zones are very effective. They have been effective in the past, and we need to establish one, and we need to make it crystal clear to Vladimir Putin that our jets will fly when and where they want, that our troops cannot be threatened in any way by Russia. But so far, this president has done none of that, although he and his Secretary of State continue to talk to Russia, which is inexplicable to me, because it's pretty clear that the Russians, while they're talking to us, are also lying to us. We need to act now in a way that sends an unmistakable message. And it is why, as President of the United States, in addition to having a strategy in Syria and for ISIS, I would also be rebuilding the Sixth Fleet right under Vladimir Putin's nose, rebuilding the missile defense program in Poland, because he must see strength and resolve from the United States of America, and he has not.
Let's go back to the debate on Wednesday. In your opening statement, you joked that in the Reagan Library debate, you were criticized that you didn't smile enough. And the ladies of The View the next day decided that they were going to take issue with that. Let's listen to what Michelle Collins said about your performance at the debate.
She kicked off her thing saying, you know, people tell me that I didn't smile enough during the last debate. She looked demented. I mean, she did not, her mouth did not downturn one time. She was like,
Halloween mask. I love that.
A smiling Fiorina. Can you imagine? Give you nightmares.
Demented, a Halloween mask. Is there a double standard here, Ms. Fiorina, for Republican women? I can't imagine that they would say that about Hillary Clinton.
Oh, you think? Yeah, I think there's a double standard. It's funny, you know, I was on The View several months ago. They said none of that to my face. There is nothing more threatening to the liberal media in general and to Hillary Clinton in particular than a conservative woman. So, of course, there's a double standard. And conservative women, from Sarah Palin to Michelle Bachmann to Carly Fiorina, are long used to this. It will not stop me. It will not scare me. And maybe the ladies of The View, if I come back on again, let's see if they have the guts to say that to my face.
You know, they said something similar about Ms. Colorado after the Miss America pageant when she appeared on stage in a nurse's uniform. I had a chance to meet Kelly Johnson last weekend in Denver. She's a lovely woman, committed to her profession. Are these women out of touch?
Well, I think what these women represent is a set of liberal feminists who believe that if you do not agree with them on their liberal orthodoxy, that you don't count, that somehow you're not a woman. You see, I know that women represent half the nation, so of course our views are going to be as diverse as men's. I also know that unless and until women's potential is fully unlocked in this country, and women have been crushed under the Obama economy, that we will not be as good a nation as we can be. And frankly, I am tired of being insulted by liberal feminists who talk about women's issues when the reality is every issue is a woman's issue, from the economy to ISIS to Russia to healthcare to education to the national debt. Women care about all of that. So I am really sorry that I don't agree with the women of The View. Nevertheless, I'm going to continue to stand up, stand strong, talk about what I believe in, and I am Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare as a result.
On the subject of women and their plight under the Obama administration, one of your most talked about moments from Wednesday's debate is when you said this. Let's listen.
92% of jobs lost during Barack Obama's first term belonged to women.
But what women are talking about, Ms. Fiorina, in relation to that statement is that the data that you use does not represent the totality of the Obama administration's first term. People from your campaign said to me yesterday you misspoke during the debate. Do you want to take a moment to clarify those remarks?
Well, you know, this is what the liberal media do. They try to discredit the messenger when the message is true. Yes, it is true. The 92% figure refers to the first 3.5 years of Barack Obama's term, not the first 4 years. Here's what's undeniable. Women have been hurt under this administration's policies. The extreme poverty rate among women is the highest ever recorded. The poverty rate among women, 16.1%, is the highest in 20 years. Women have been harmed by this administration's policies, just as African Americans have, just as the poor have been. Progressive policies are bad for the people that they claim to help. That is true of women as well as men.
But let me just ask you again, if you're using a data set that stops in March of 2012 that you use because that is the most advantageous point, to make that point, are you doing voters a disservice by not telling them what really happened during the entire first term of the presidency, which is that by January of 2013, the number of jobs among women had actually increased by about 400,000?
Yes, as my campaign said, we misspoke. But that reality doesn't change the reality that women have been harmed under this administration. Think about what I just said, John, and this is what the liberal media tries to do. Let us discredit the messenger so that we ignore the truth of the message. Here is the truth of the message. Women are harmed by this administration's policies. Record numbers of women have lost jobs, are living in poverty, or are living in extreme poverty. That is the debate we're to have to win in 2016. What is the real human impact of progressive policies? And the reality is the human impact of progressive policies is to keep people unemployed. We have record numbers of people who are no longer working or who have quit looking for work. We have record numbers of people on food stamps. We have record numbers of people living in poverty. Those are the facts. That is the truth.
All right, we've got to wrap it up there. Ms. Fiorina, thanks so much for joining us again. Good to see you. We'll see you